We're talking about if you have children who constantly interrupt you, most of the time we think about that. Good morning, Mom. Most of the time we think about children who interrupt as really young children because, I mean, just the other day I was on the phone with a friend of mine and her little, I think 2-year-old just all of a sudden needed her every moment she was on the phone. So, I mean, that's something that we're really used to whenever the kids are younger. But if we don't get a hold of it now and help them learn a different way, a more respectful way, excuse me, then you will end up having 13-year-olds like I do who sometimes think the world revolves around them. Good morning, Tiffany. I'm glad you're here. So, and that's not fair. I guess what I mean is we need to teach our children that the world doesn't revolve around them, that other people have needs too, and that they can wait before interrupting you. So it's just respectful communication. But keep in mind that when children are really young, I mean, for the first, please, I will go on my soapbox to say for the first year of life, you should be responding to their every need when, whether it's physical or emotional, when they have needs, because research has proven over and over again that by responding to them, you will not spoil them. You will actually help them have a healthy attachment that, pardon me, that lasts throughout life. So we do want to respond to our young children consistently and quickly, at least for the first year. After that, we need to help them learn that they can wait. And it could even be something like you hear your baby crying, 1 year old, 12, 18 months, and you say, okay, mommy's coming. I'm on my way in there. I'm getting the bottle ready or whatever it is. Well, I guess not at 18 months, but you know what I mean. Just helping them know, good morning, Courtney. Glad to see you. Just helping them know that you are on your way and they can wait. So I'm getting off track. We are doing 6 ways to stop an interrupting child. Good morning, Karen. Number 1 is it starts with you. So if you have been listening to my videos or talk to me for any length of time, you know that I always come back to us as the first one because you can only give what you have. You can only take your children as far as you yourself have gone. So I just want to say, number 1 is it starts with you. And this means, while we talked about we need to do everything for our children for at least the first year, I want you to think about, are you still, sorry if this sounds crass, but are you still wiping your 4-year-old's butt? I mean, now, if developmentally they need some help with that, if there's some delays there, okay, but how about your 5-year-old? Are you still pouring cereal for your 5-year-old or putting frozen waffles in the toaster? Most 5-year-olds can handle that. Can you believe it? Now, just so you know, and I've talked before about how I babied Gabe, my now 13-year-old, a little bit longer than was necessary. And the way you know it's longer than it's necessary is because they actually can do it themselves. But, when Gabriel I was a stay-at-home mom until Gabe's dad and I split and I had to go back to work. So Gabe was in childcare when he was 1 year old, and I saw him carry his little tray from lunch and empty it into the trash. And I was like, I didn't know he could do that. So it started giving me a sense of, wow, he can really do more things than I give him credit for or that I allow him to do. So if I say that number 1 is about you, what I mean is, do you have a need to be needed? Are you doing these things for your child so that you don't want him to make a mess, maybe? Or because you want to be in charge of you want to be in control of everything, which really, we're not in control of anything. Hopefully that's not a newsflash. So just be thinking about that. Are you still, your 7 and 8-year-old can absolutely take part in household chores, family responsibilities like bringing groceries in and setting the table. Your 6-year-old should be dressing himself. So just be, number 1, it starts with you. Think about, are you allowing your child to do things on their own, or are you doing everything for them? And you might be thinking, what does this have to do with interrupting? Because if you're doing everything for your child when they're developmentally ready to do it on their own, then how would they even think interrupting you would be bad? Because it's all about them, right? So that's number one. And actually, it's also number two. Number two is it's still about you. Because I want us to get this. Not because I'm beating you down, moms. Believe me, I went through the same exact thing with Gabe, and I probably still do a little bit because he's my baby. But you need to think about the kind of communication you're modeling with your children. So either when you're talking to them or when you're talking to other people, which I just realized I kind of do when I talk to you guys, because I just see that Shirley and Crystal are here. And so I'm interrupting my conversation with you to greet them, which might be kind of not so good modeling. I have to think about that a little bit. I'm happy you're here and I want to greet you. But when you're talking to your children, I want to do it again. Good morning, Dallas. When you're talking to your children, do you interrupt them? Pardon me. Do you interrupt them? Like, are they in the middle of something and what you have to say is more important, so you just, cut them off? Or when they're babies. This can start when they're babies. You're about to pick your baby up to change him. It's important to say, I'm going to pick you up to change you right now, and then you pick them up and change them. Because imagine being that little child and you're sitting there playing and you're all interested in this, and all of a sudden, like some unknown force comes behind you and picks you up and takes you over to the changing table, and you don't even know what happened. That has to do with communication, saying this is what's going to happen, and then you do it. And also your communication with them, waiting for them to finish their thought before you interrupt. And your communication with the other adults in your life that your children can hear. Are you just waiting for your turn to talk, or are you actively listening to them and not interrupting them? So number one is it's about you. Number two is it's still about you. So moving on. Number three, it's time to teach. Once you do that self-reflection piece of, okay, I wonder why I feel the need to do everything for my kids. And I wonder if I'm actually modeling effective, respectful communication to my kids. So you get to number three, it's time to teach. So I read a book. I do not like the title, but it was a great book. The title is Don't Make Me Count to Three, and it was by Ginger Hubbard. I don't know if she got married or if that's her maiden name, but she's written other things, and Plowman is also her last name. But I have it in the other room. I should have brought it to show you. Sorry, y'all. It's called Don't Make Me Count to Three. Like I said, terrible title, great book. And the suggestion I got from her is if you teach your child to put their hand on your arm when you're having a conversation, or like if you're on the phone, or if you're in the middle of something, and then you put your hand over their hand to say, like, okay, I hear you. I know that you want to talk to me, but right now is not a good time, but I'll get to you when I can. And that teaches children how to wait with being able to do something concrete in the moment. I also read on a website that I'll put it in the article that I linked to this, but the person who wrote the article had actually two ideas. She had two different hand signals, one for like, I need you right now, and another one for like, this can kind of wait a little bit, so that she could let her child know, okay, I'm in the middle of something really important, and you might as well just go play because I'm not going to be able to get to you right now. So I thought that was interesting. So number three is it's time to teach. You figure out with your child what signal you're going to use, whether it's, putting a hand on the shoulder, or if they're real little, like on your knee, because they might be tiny. I don't know if anyone else has other suggestions. My mom commented something there. That's the role of Nana. I don't know what I said, but hi, Lindsay. It's good to see you. So number three is you have to teach them whatever hand signal. And if you want some more suggestions on that, just comment or message me. I would love to help you out with that. So After number one is it's about you. Number two is still about you. You're assessing what's happening with you. Number three, you teach the skills. Number four is practice the skills. Depending on the age of your child, and this can be a lot of fun. I know it's a ton of fun for them. You pretend like you're on the phone. So you're like, okay, mama's going to pretend she's on the phone and you're going to pretend that you need me. And what are you going to do? So blah, blah, blah. And if they come in and say, Mom, it's like, okay, remember, you put your hand on me and I'll put my hand on you. And then you practice that waiting. Of course, when you're practicing, you want to talk to them about what actually is an emergency. Growing up, we would say if someone's bleeding or the house is on fire, that's an emergency. It's really difficult for kids to understand what an emergency is. So you do need to spell that out. So it's about you. It's still about you. Teach the skills, practice the skills. Moving on to number 4 on ways to stop your interrupting child. Number 5, give them choices. I'm really big on choices because I think it helps empower them. They have some control over, or some say-so maybe is a better word, over what they can do. So you can say, look, I need to talk to grandma, or I need to talk to my sister, or I need to make an important business call. So you have a choice. You can play with blocks or you can play with dolls. Which works best for you? So that they understand you're not going to be available in these next, say, 10 minutes and maybe longer, and that they can be near you and they can have a choice over this or this. It helps them feel powerful. It helps them have some control over the situation. So then, and it helps keep them busy, because sometimes they are interrupting you because they want your attention or they're bored, which being bored is a good thing. And finally, have realistic expectations. So it is absolutely realistic to expect your 4-year-old to wait 10 minutes for you to finish what you're doing to talk to you if it's not an emergency. It's not realistic to expect your 2-year-old to be able to do that, but maybe 5 minutes. And so I talked earlier about my 13-year-old. It is absolutely realistic to expect him to recognize, hey, mom and dad are in the middle of a conversation, and I just walked right into it and said, hey, mom, this is what's happening in my life. He forgets a lot, and it's probably because I have trained him that whenever he comes in the room, I'm like, yes, what is it that you need? And so is my mom. So anyhow, be careful of that, you guys. We're still working on that with him, because that was really us. And although it's good to have someone in your life love you so much, of course, you still want your children to be respectful and understand that it's not all about them, that there are other people in this world and that their needs matter too. So those are the 6 ways to stop your child from interrupting you. And if you have one takeaway from this, absolutely comment about what you took away. But I would say the most concrete, practical takeaway would be having that signal and practicing it, which were the 2 in the middle. So having some kind of signal like, Johnny, you're going to put your hand on mama's arm when you need me, and I'm going to put my hand over that to let you know I hear you, but you still need to wait. And then just practicing it. So that's all I have for you today. If you haven't yet gone to connectpointmoms.com, I have links to all of these live videos and articles too, that mostly I write when I'm creating the live. So then I'll link the video to the article and the article to the video. And I also have a free class on connectpointmoms.com. So go check it out under free helps for moms. And the articles are under blogs. And let me know if you need anything. And I will be talking to you through this Facebook group, Connect Point Moms, but you can also message me and let me know if you need anything else. It was great connecting with you today. I hope this was useful for you. Have a great day. Bye.